Welcome to the Nordic Mythology podcast. I'm Daniel Farrand, owner of the company Horns of Odin. As always, before we jump into the show, I do have to plug our Patreon. I say it every week. It's the lifeline to the show. It's how we keep going week in, week out, and have been going for so many years. So if you can pop over to Patreon/Nordic Mythology podcast, please do. It starts from £3 a month and you get the entire back catalogue. So you only get the latest 20 for free, and then the entire back catalogue with the whole host of amazing guests we have now you can access through our Patreon. You also get the storytime episodes we did. You get the smut episodes that we do where we look at amateur Viking erotica with myself, Mags, and Claire, which are a lot of fun. You get the Q&As with the guests that sometimes end up being longer than the main shows, but they're a lot looser. There's a lot of good information that we miss. And yeah, with that said, 5-star rating, positive review, wherever you get your podcast. If you can't support financially, maybe somebody else can find the podcast. But I'm really excited to get into this episode today. We've got an amazing run of guests coming up, and our guest today, Kai, gets to kickstart that off. So I'm really, really excited. But first, Mags, my co-host, our in-house archaeologist. I think I got that the right way around in the end.
Yeah, it's fine. Hi, everyone. I'm sorry in advance if there's like a lot of background coughing. I've been struggling with a cold for the past couple of weeks, so I'm just going to sit back a little bit. But if you hear any weird sounds, that's just me struggling with my throat.
I thought you sounded a bit nasal, but I didn't want to say anything just in case.
Oh, you're sweet. You are correct. I am sounding a bit nasal because I am.
Sorry, you outed yourself, so
yep.
We're all right. And then today our guest is Kai Uwe Faust. Kai, did I pronounce that right?
Yeah.
Okay, close enough. Kai is a German artist, writer, and musician, best known for one of the founding members and lyrical voice of the experimental folk band Heilung, where his work blends reconstructed historical text with powerful vocal performances to invoke the spiritual atmosphere of ancient Northern Europe. Beyond music, he is the founder and artistic director of Old Norse, a clothing brand inspired by Norse mythology, runic symbolism, and early medieval aesthetics, reflecting his deep interest in anthropology, pre-Christian traditions, and visual language of the Viking Age. Kai, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me again. It's always fun.
It's been a while. It's been a few years.
Yeah, it really has been a while, yeah.
I think the last time was probably when we sat down and spoke at Midgårdsblot.
That was the last time we were, in the tent.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's always a really popular video on our YouTube. It always kind of blows up every so often because it's a lovely little setting. So Mags, we were at Midgårdsblot, and Heilung always have an amazing setup. Do you do that at most festivals where you go?
The setup, you mean?
Yeah.
Like we had it in Midgårdsblot with the tent and everything? No. That is unique for Midgårdsblot, or that was unique for Midgårdsblot. And that is due to the reason because Maria was born there, so her family lives there, and like a lot of her friends live there. And that's also where Chris, me and Maria met.
Oh,
and that is basically our home soil, where we had a lot of Viking markets and where we had a lot of benefits regarding space and a lot of support. So no, we don't do that every time.
It would be good if you did, but Mags, they had I would say like a full camp, or with a fire in the middle and a little place where everyone could hang out. And around the edges were all the sleeping areas, but it was very much a medieval encampment. And me and Matthias got to sit down with Kai, Chris, and Maria in a little tent with the cameras set up, and it was very cozy and lovely and really authentic.
That sounds so fun.
Yeah, I treasure that a lot. It was a really nice memory.
I imagine you
good
would.
times.
Absolutely. Good times. So let's get into Heilung first, because I do want to chat about Old Norse, because I've been loving seeing the brand go. So we'll save that for in a little bit, because obviously most people will know you from Heilung, whether they get to see your face or not. You are the man behind the mask.
The man behind the mask. Yeah, yeah. It's
Do you?
funny sometimes. Yeah.
No, go.
It's funny sometimes because, like, of course, people like when they know me mostly wearing the antlers and wearing the face veil, and sometimes I walk through the audience in one of our gigs, and like I'm being left in peace completely.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
So,
it sounds kind of like a privilege.
yeah. I call it the cloak of invisibility,
Which is just your regular face.
which is just my regular face. Yeah.
Yeah.
But you stand out as a human anyway, because you're quite a tall gentleman. You're very quite imposing, I think. So you probably stand out a little bit on your
Yeah,
own.
like in regular life, like in a normal city environment, I do. But like when you come to a Highland concert, everyone is like tall, bearded, has a lot of tattoos.
Yeah, yeah.
So like I kind of blending in there.
Mm-hmm. Does that ever frustrate you a little bit? Would you prefer people to notice you, or are you happy to kind of just disappear and do your own thing?
Oh, I'm getting my fair share of attention. Like I don't, I'm not sad about it. Believe me. I mean, like, and it usually takes so long until someone has seen an interview or knows me from before, from
Mm.
tattooing or whatever, and then other people also realize, why the fuck is he like taking photos with that guy? And then okay, that oh my god, that's him. And
Yeah, yeah.
so yeah, no, it's fine. Like and generally, I see myself as a very humble person. So like it's
Mm.
not about me. Like the whole project is it's not about me. It's about much more, and yeah, much more about what we do and what we feed into it and what people get out of it than about
Yeah.
my personality, right? I mean,
But I think that speaks about the entire band makeup. No, getting the chance to hang out with you, Chris, Maria. You're all very humble and lovely and very welcoming people. Obviously, I probably have the like a closest friendship with Maria, and she's a very kind, giving person, and is always happy to have a chat and help and all these things. But that then extends out into the entire Heilung family that is a family. I've never seen a band quite like it. It's its own kind of entity, and you're all so close.
yeah, it comes with the nature of the thing, right? I mean, like we when we were sitting together in Dalhalla, we had our accountant counting how many concerts we did, and it was more than 180. And that in a very short time. I mean, like we started going live in 2017,
Mm-hmm.
and since then we're on the road, of course, with the break in 2020. And I mean, like we've been touring so many countries, and always, yeah, you're very very close together in the tour bus, and like like I mean the backstage areas, they're not really made for a gang of 30 people. They're made for normal bands, like five guys plus like technicians, and then we roll in there and we share a dressing room with like the Warriors, like nine people in one dressing room. There's
Mm-hmm.
not much space, so after a while you get to know each other really, really close, and that
Mm-hmm.
also sorts out people pretty quick that don't work in that environment. So then, yeah,
Yeah.
you end up with a functional team, with a team that is, by the nature of the thing, very close, that is very open to each other, and yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I can't imagine there's much room for any ego in that kind of environment.
No, like in that kind of environment, you have to leave your ego outside. There is not much space for ego.
Mm-hmm.
They have to wait. They have to wait until we're back from touring. No, but it's very much like well, we also have people like, especially when we're touring America, that are former Marine Corps members, and even they say, "Wow, man, this is like fucking crazy. This is like very, very close, very, very strict also because like literally you have to be in line, you have to function and at the same time enjoy it. If you don't, then that's the end of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because again, anybody who's seen you guys live knows that it's not just a couple of instruments. You're
No.
taking a whole production and a whole set, and it's not, like let's say a typical band. You have maybe four guys and some guitars, some drums, and some microphones and the wires, all that kind of typical stuff. But you have that, I guess, well, not some of that, but plus, I don't know, times 10. It's so much more. So the logistics must be insane. I don't know who looks after that for you, but they do a great job.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, like it's all professionals. It's all professionals really hired for the job with as much experience as possible. Really passionate people. Because like when we're hitting ground somewhere, that is like we're coming in with two tour buses, two trucks. We start working 8 o'clock in the morning and we're done at around 1 o'clock in the night with a team with around 30 people, right? So that gives you a rough idea of the volume, what is going on, right? And it's everything from people like being out early in the morning, finding the trees and the leaves that we always have on stage, the technicians preparing, people setting up the stage, the microphones, the light, everything. It's quite extensive and it's
Mm-hmm.
quite a thing.
Yeah, I imagine. Because obviously, how does that work when you go to Australia or the Southern Hemisphere? Because do you ship everything, or do you have two sets of everything?
No, we don't really have two sets of everything. Of course, like a lot of the technical stuff we hire in the country that we're
Okay.
going, like Australia, America, wherever. And also, of course, we don't bring the trucks, right? We hire the trucks
Mm-hmm.
on the spot. And especially when you mention Australia and even more New Zealand, it's very strict when it comes to like furs, leather, wood, feathers, So like a lot of the stuff that you see here in Europe, we cannot bring. We simply cannot bring it. And
No, of course,
that
because of like island nations being so strict in the import rules.
exactly. And like, of course, we also respect that. I mean, like we're always talking about nature and protection of nature and then you enter a super fragile ecosystem, right? So like whatever requirements they call out, we of course follow them, right? That's not a question. And then it's like finding contacts to locals that supply us with local feathers, with local wood products, whatever we need,
Mm-hmm.
and like locally source it. And that's generally also a thing, like to kind of keep the footprint as small as possible. That's also why we have people in the choir. We also try to source them locally as much as possible, right? So when we go to America, for example, there's a team of people that are trained to sing and perform with us that join the team, and we don't ship everyone over to America. It's
Mm-hmm.
unfortunately not the case in Australia. I mean, like, but yeah, it's much smaller also.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I it's always a lovely thing to see when you go to all these different places and it's not in and out. You spend time and go and meet local communities where you can and help, especially first generation natives. That's something that you've always been so keen to do and get involved, and that's a beautiful thing. And I imagine that kind of comes along with trying to source all these materials, because I know you're all probably quite particular about where things come from. You want them to be sourced in an ethical manner, and that kind of all comes together.
Yeah, logically, of course. But it's also, I mean, like, I see myself as a First Nation European, right? It's a very weird word, or Native European or whatever. European Indigenous is super weird to say it, but I see myself like that, and that is also why it is so important for me, and it always was also in my tattoo work already to like reach out to other people that carry that in them, to be like the guardians of the land, or however you want to call it, the first people of
Mhm.
the land, and really connect on a super old, super deep level, and search for things that we have in common, right? And yeah, but that comes with a lot of beautiful, beautiful contacts, with really, really good connections. And yeah, especially in Australia, like I would like to say, like, hello to Benny. If you see this, Benny from Australia, you're amazing, man.
Hi,
He's
Benny. We love you.
Yeah, hi Benny.
he's one of the perfect examples of yeah, like we're landing and someone is there, uh, and that takes care for us and like links us up with a lot of people while we're traveling, and like brings beautiful, beautiful people in our circles, and a lot of love. Just beautiful, like really amazing.
Mm, yeah, yeah, it sounds incredible. Did you ever think, going back to, I guess, that first big show, the one at Castlefest, did you ever think that it would become what it has today and give you this whole host of opportunities to go and meet incredible people in anyone who follows your journey in Thailand, in Australia, in North America? It seems like such an incredible journey, and I don't know whether you ever planned. Did you ever plan that? Was it ever kind of a goal, like a distant goal? Was it? Did you ever think that could become from from the performance when you three first started?
Well, yes and no. I mean, like already when we recorded Ofnir, I had the feeling that this is gonna be quite big, although I could never logically pin it down why, right?
Mm.
And then when we played Castlefest in 17, it was already quite big. I mean, we started out with a headliner spot, and that is based on a lot of trust that especially Chris and Maria were building up with their other projects like Valraun or Usine, and they had been playing internationally with that already, and people knew them, and that they knew, okay, like if these guys are showing up, they're not bullshitting, that's got to be something nice. So they pushed us straight to the headliner spot, and then later on, of course, like the initial contacts to First Nation people, they came from my old tattoo contacts, because like I was
Oh wow.
traveling internationally, tattooing everywhere, all around the globe, and I did traditional tattooing, traditional Nordic tattooing, and the studio I was working in was very accepted by people from Hawaii, from the Americas, from New Zealand. They all knew, okay, Kunstpakam, that's the weird European guys, with their old school dresses that do their old school patterns and everything. And when it was time to find First Nation people in America, especially, then one of my old contacts, of course, she's not old. Hello, Joy, if you see this, thank you very much. You're also absolutely amazing.
Hello, Joy.
Sealing, sealing me up with Buffy, and Buffy linked us further in the tribes, and nowadays we have a beautiful network in America. So
Mm.
a lot of people in a lot of cities and places come to dance with us, to open up, to greet the spirits, to send our gratefulness to the spirits of the land, and yeah.
Hmm. I'm so, I think everybody wants the rock and roll lifestyle, or that's kind of like a lot of people's dreams. But I'm not even jealous of that side. It's the experiences that you get to have with these individuals that I just can't even imagine just how incredible they must be. Obviously I've done this podcast for so long now, and I love getting to speak to new people and learn new things. And I think knowledge is so important, and just understand different areas. So getting to step into these very secretive cultures for the most part must be just unbelievable. And getting to see that firsthand, yeah, I'm very jealous.
Thank you, thank you.
Yeah, it must be.
Yeah, it's quite beautiful. Yeah, and especially to yeah, to see the love that we get, and of course also give, and the respect. So when we were the last time over in the Americas, we got invited to a sweat lodge, and yeah, to participate in a ceremony like that is quite
Mm.
beautiful, you know. And also in Australia to see, like, on the first gig, there was one of the Aborigines, and he came, and he came blank, right? You know, like, I mean, like, he was supposed to open up like a, I don't have a clue how many thousand people performance, right? And he came like with nothing, you know, and then we were like, okay, like, what what are you planning to do? And he was like, yeah, like, I'm going to do a traditional smoke ceremony. And we were like, with what? Yeah, let me just go in the bush, you know, don't worry about it, it's gonna be fine. So
Wow.
he disappeared in the wilderness, and he came back with all the smudging stuff and everything he needed, right? So, like, that was quite that was quite amazing to see how, yeah, that in order to get in contact with your spirituality and share your spirituality, you don't need anything. You know, the land is providing you with everything that you need when you know it. You know, when you know how to read the landscape and everything. That was just beautiful to watch.
Oh yeah, but because that is something that we've become really disconnected with, I think, and I think bands like Highland really do make people question that, especially seeing you live. There, it's an experience. It's not for anybody. It's difficult to say for anybody who hasn't experienced you live, because it's not just it's not a gig. You're not going to see
Oh,
a band play music and that's it. It is a spiritual experience for everybody involved. There's something that happens. It doesn't matter whether it's the first time that they see you, whether they've heard any of your music before, or whether they're a diehard fan. It's an experience that just takes hold of you on a different level from anything that I've experienced before. And I think that then makes people just question their choices on how things and how they interact with the environment and the world, seeing the music that you make from just nature. It has this kind of effect that people just kind of think, or certainly I do anyway. It makes me maybe think about my connection and how I should probably more conscious and make that conscious effort to be grounded a little bit more. And I appreciate it, and I thank you guys for the music you do for that as well, and bringing that to the forefront of people's mind.
thank you. Yeah, yeah. I mean, you said it already. It's like we are really having a ceremony there, and we do that consciously in the structure of, like, how traditional ceremonies are led, and we're really calling in spirits, and at the same time, the experience is made to be literally experienced with all your senses, right? I mean, like, if you buy one of our albums, or you listen to us on the platforms, YouTube, whatever, then you hear it, of course. But the moment you show up in one of our concerts and one of our ceremonies, you will feel it. The bass is made so that you really feel it in your body, right?
The
And you
bass is unlike anything I think I've ever experienced in my life. I don't know what you do to the bass, whether it's definitely up to 11, and you just there's nothing that hits you through like the chest that is like the bass on a Highland gig. It is unbelievable.
uh, yeah, it was very beautiful when we were in Australia. Unfortunately, when we were in Ireland, unfortunately, I forgot the name of the person, but she was a caretaker for children that were born without hearing.
Oh my
And
god.
yeah, she was a friend of a friend, and came backstage also later on, and she was in tears, and she said that, like, from that moment on, she had one goal: to bring her children to one of our concerts, you know. So, because, like, no matter if you're born with drum skins or not, you will experience
Mm-hmm.
the thing anyway, you know, you will feel it. And that was, like, to listen to her was for me also very touching, you know. was very beautiful to to see
Absolutely.
a person that works with disabled children, and was so wow, like had a vision for the future, had a vision how to get these children to experience music anyway. And
Hmm.
I hope once we're back that will actually happen. It will be beautiful.
Hmm. Yeah. Mags, I don't want to keep talking over if you do have anything. I know your voice is so.
No, I was just sitting there thinking that this is something that I definitely need to experience. I unfortunately have not been to any of your concerts, but Dan has been on my case about it for a while. But I just,
Well, you have
but
some
the
time.
yeah. Well, I mean that's good to know, but it's also interesting to listen to both from the creator perspective that you have, Kai, and also like from Dan having experienced it. Like I have been to what you perhaps would describe as more, regular gigs or musical concerts where I have genuinely felt like this was I one particularly comes to mind where afterwards my sister said I was prepared for a concert, but this was a spiritual experience, and if that was from like a regular concert with heavy quotation marks, then I'm like, whoa, what will this experience be like?
It's different.
Yeah,
So that's what I was
which
about to say.
excites
It's
me.
different. But you said then, Kai, when you're back, obviously you had the final show for before you go into long hibernation. I think you've called it. First, I mean, I have to ask: do we know how long hibernation is? Are there any hints at that? Because obviously, I'm keen to see you again.
Well, I'm not sure if I'm allowed to share that. So,
Well, I I thought that might be
Fair
the
enough.
answer. Yeah, I thought that might be the answer, but I have to ask. I
yeah, I
think.
mean, like it's of course like in Heilung, we're working a lot with natural rhythms. So day and night, summer, winter, inhaling, exhaling, and we have been quite outgoing for quite a while, right? But if you
Mm,
only exhale, at some point you're gonna die, right? So you
Yep.
need to inhale at some point. You know, if you're only awake, at some point you're gonna fucking collapse, right? So you need to
mhm,
sleep, and that is what we're doing right now. We're following a natural rhythm. But having said that, that also means that we're not gonna sleep forever,
yeah,
most
of
probably.
course.
You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, of course. I get it. I get it. No, but also, just I know it feels wrong talking about like a business sense when it comes to a band like Highland, but there is that as well. You have to. It is, it's a band and it's a brand in its own right, and there has to be that time in between. You have to allow new people to discover you, people who've never heard you before, like Max, who have, there is that wait for the next time. My people like me, they've seen you a bunch. That kind of excitement and giddiness to be like, oh my god, I don't know when it's going to be, but then when it gets announced, I'm there, I'm waiting, I'm ready for it. There's probably going to be some new music, some new sounds. Everybody's rested. There is that aspect to it, and I also
Yeah, for
wondered whether I just sorry, just jump on the back of that. I also wondered whether playing the way you do for a prolonged period of time, obviously the similar sort of set. Do you think that also needs like a time to rest and a refresh and bring the new, like a new kind of vision into it, because it is an experience. You don't want to, I guess, you don't want to devalue it by doing it forever the exact same way. You want to have that newness.
yeah, very true. I mean, it's really about catching breath. And also, Heilong has two, we call it Standbein in German, we have two legs where we stand on. One is, of course, the live rituals, but the other one is also the album that is out there, that you can buy physically, and like new music that is out there on the platforms and everything. And when we're always touring, we cannot make new albums, right? So we also need to in that time. Also not allowed to. I'm also not sure if I'm allowed to share that, but it would be only logical if we would return into the studio and make a new album.
Yeah, just hypothetically speaking.
Hypothetically speaking, yeah.
Yeah.
So, and it's
if Chris was here, he would be hitting you in the arm.
no, probably.
I remember the first time we all spoke. There was something that Marie was going to say, and I just remember Chris like nudging her. Was like, "Shut up!" Like. And obviously, I was like, "No, come on, keep saying
give it,
come on." Yeah. Okay, without getting you into trouble, what was that last gig like? That has to have been something else, because the setting was beautiful. Mags, I don't know if you saw pictures of it, but it was a place in Sweden. I've forgotten the name of the venue.
Dalhalla in Rättvik, Sweden.
Ooh.
And it looks like it's in an old quarry, I guess, and it has like a turquoise lagoon, I guess, in the bottom, but then there's a stage and the seats rise up out of the quarry.
Very vibey.
It
Very
is
nice.
A remarkable place. I can see why you chose that to be the last concert. But what was that like? That whole, I guess, day and night and knowing that it's coming to a close.
It was a beautiful finish for sure. I mean, like when I got in there in the morning, of course, then the place is very quiet and empty, or there's not much people yet. And just speaking in there, the reverb in that place, the echo is crazy. It takes several seconds, and like when you sing in there, even without amplifying, it's crazy. Like the acoustics in that place naturally are insane. And then they have a sauna in the backstage, and then you have that lake where you can swim in.
Oh, wow.
And just also being on stage and looking out over, of course, all the beautiful people, but then you see the rocks and you see the trees, everything. That was also a very, very nice experience. And also, like, we had Myrkur with us. Hello, Amalia, you're amazing. It was beautiful to be on stage with you again.
I love all the shout outs. That's so nice.
Yeah. Oh, we have to have Mika on here at some point. We still haven't.
Yeah, you should. Mm-hmm. Like, she's really cool. Like, of course, she is also Copenhagen based, so we meet from time to time. And yeah, it was really cool to be there with all the people, and like the guys that were making the catering, they did a super good job, and everything ran smooth. We had an insane amount of warriors with us on stage. We were 15. Usually we're 9, and there were guys coming over from the American team joining us, and it was just.
Wow.
It was just beautiful. We had people like the guys that organized the concert for us in Thailand. They came with I think there were eight people. They came all the way from Thailand to see this, and we also got to meet them afterwards. Unfortunately, very shortly only.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it was a perfect finish, right? In Latin they say finis coronat. The finishing is crowning the work, and that was really it. That was really it.
Oh, I bet. I bet that was an emotional time for everybody, because you are, like I say, everybody's a family, and it's that kind of disbanding of the family. Everybody, because I guess as well, the warriors who've been with you for a long time, like Ruben, he's been with you guys. Is he the longest outside of the main three? Yeah. So he's grown throughout the time of the band, and now has his own wings to kind of discover and do his own thing for a while, whilst the hibernation's happening. And I guess everybody does the same thing, goes and kind of spread their wings a little bit and do their own projects and have their own time and to recuperate and have their their own journeys. That has to be a really beautiful moment, but also sad. I imagine, like quite. It's the juxtaposition of just the happiness of this thing we've achieved and looking back, but it coming to an end. It's one of the It must have been a beautiful, really beautiful time.
It was indeed. I mean, like the the Warriors are a special case for the Warriors. It was not that sad because like they are, of course, like an entity in themselves. And what happened was afterwards we went to the Atlantis studio in Stockholm, and the Warriors regroup under Kriigerkvlt now, and we we did before already as Kriigerkvlt collabs with John Connor and Witch Club Satan. But that was the first time that we went from Valhalla straight together as the Warrior group to a studio and recorded something purely the Warrior group,
Oh,
in order to,
nice.
Oh,
yeah,
fun.
and yeah,
You are
and
allowed
that
to say
is,
that, right? That's not
I am totally allowed to say that. I mean,
okay.
like,
Good. I was like, oh my god.
and that is also because, like, I mean, like all the Warriors are in Heilung, they're hired musicians, like mercenaries, and now there's a gap where Heilung is not going to hire them, and of course, like they hope, or we hope as Kriegerkult to be hired as a choir with extreme voices, to be attached to other bands in that time, right? And it's not only that these guys are only shouting, right? I mean, like there's Ed, he's an amazing bass guitar player. He can play bodhran. There is Chloe, she can play harp. Like there's also
Mm-hmm.
Brit, and she's an amazing drummer. And like we took everything, like everything that was available at that time on instruments. Nadia, she plays piano, like beautiful, beautiful. And we went into that studio and really, yeah, made a piece that really shows what the choir as Kriegerkult can do outside of Heilung, and what is available also for other bands to hire in the time when Heilung is not hiring them, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's. Oh, I look forward to hearing that.
Oh yeah, you can.
Yeah.
It's gonna be beautiful.
Mm. Yeah, that's because I mean that's the I guess the beauty of Highland as well is that it's made up of so many incredible musicians in their own musicians. Yeah, there's a.
Yeah.
I don't know why I thought I said magicians then.
Oh,
Musicians.
the magician is me. Like
Yeah,
the rest are
Yeah.
musicians.
yeah, absolutely. Musicians in their own right. Obviously, we've had Annika on here. We've had Shaka on here. She had some incredible musicians, and then it's almost like Highland's a super group of all these fantastic musicians who come together and just do this stunning project.
Yeah, and of course, like while Heilung is not on, that is where these guys will dive into their own projects. No matter if it's Mira with her project, or also for that sake, Songleiker with Maria. There will be.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can expect that the people in that moment where Heilung is not occupying all their time, that they're gonna invest that time and the skills and the creativity in that part, and there will be amazing things coming up,
Mm-hmm.
like
Oh
without
yeah,
question.
but it's like anything, isn't it? You take that when you take that kind of powerhouse out for a little bit, there's a vacuum, and there's a people who are already invested in Highland, who are looking for something, and whoever kind of steps into that void is gonna do really well from it, and they're gonna thrive from that, and that's I'm excited to see.
It's gonna be cool for sure.
Mm-hmm. But let before we run out of time, let's talk about you and what you're gonna do in this kind of hibernation time. I know you're going to rest, but obviously you have Old Norse as a brand that you've been growing for it's a couple of years now, right?
Yeah, Old Norse was out for sale the first time in Hellfest in 2023.
Mm-hmm.
But of
Okay.
course, you can't just do a clothing brand like this, right? So there's a
Oh,
lot
No, of
of
course.
pre-work and that needed to be done. A lot of drawing, a lot of like printing, a lot of embroidering, because like what we're really wanting to do right from the start was was clothing, was an apparel that had like top quality, like top notch, no discussion, right? And that was at the same time very Celtic, very Nordic, very traditional European, but also free of like the political dark mist that is often surrounding apparels like that, right?
mhm.
And all that, like I have beautiful partners in there, very supportive people, you know, that believed in the vision right from the start, you know, and that jumped all in with a lot of working power, with money and everything. And yeah, and then Hellfest, then it was there, you know, there was a booth for the first time, you know, with all the shirts and all the hoodies, and especially the hoodies are you know, like I always say, like I would buy that shit. Yeah, I make it myself,
Yeah.
but I would also buy it because like
Mhm.
it's really super high quality embroidery, heavy
Mhm. It
quality,
is.
like
I have to give full credit to that because, oh, you know, obviously I have my own side of clothing, and when I would buy your stuff happily. When I look at it and I pick it up, it's fantastic quality. That's the thing that stood out from the start, is that it's it's never going to be the cheapest, because it just can't be, because you can't make something that good and be the cheapest. But you can certainly be, you know, the best. And I think that the stuff you make, like, is incomparable to like most other things, if not all other things. It is kind of that upper echelon when it comes to not just like Nordic clothing. I think just outside of that, it's extremely well made things, as you know, just as clothing, not to just lump it into like a Norse clothing category. Just at its own, I think you've done a fantastic job with that aspect, and then that's what brings people in when they get to, especially when you're doing shows where people can feel it and look at it and kind of touch it, and that tangible thing. That's when people then go, oh well, now I understand why, you know, it's not £15. I can, I get that now, because you can see it. It's there. Um, so yeah, I have to give you and your partners full credit for the vision, because I think you've done it fantastically. I think it looks great. I think the marketing looks good. The pictures, everything is spot on, and I fully understand the difficulties behind trying to do clothing.
thank you very much. Like it really means a lot, also coming from you, that you work with clothing yourself. That is really, it's really good. And you're right. I mean, like it's really, of course, we have the website out there and everything, but the main sales, they go physically. You know, the moment people
Yeah.
really take that hoodie up and they realize, wow, that's by weight already more than the regular hoodie. And when they feel the embroidery, like when they actually the haptics in it, that is what really convinces, you know, when they see the actual product, when they feel the actual product, when they wear
Hmm.
it and see that the cut is nice and everything, you know. Of course, like when you see stuff in the internet, of course it's a beautiful model, right? It's of course nice lighting. It's of course a nice photographer that takes the pictures, right? But the moment you see, okay, like this is real, you know, this is proper, and like we're one of the things also apart from the quality was that we were aiming to something that especially people from Northern Europe, from Holland, Denmark, Sweden, and so on, that a problem that they very often run into, especially the ladies, is that most of the stuff is just too short. You know, when you're as a
Yes.
female person, when you when you're 180, right, you have a shit problem all the time to find something that actually fits by length, you know, by length of the arms and everything. And that is also, that was also from the beginning very clear for us. We need to target these people, you know, that are
Yeah.
taller, you know. and and of course that makes it difficult. So you have to find people that are actually willing to produce that, that also have an understanding for, why would you want to have like pants that are so long? It's like, yeah, because we need them.
Mhm.
Because
And
people who
Yeah.
fit those pants exist and they need pants.
yeah, and
Mhm.
a lot of them exist. I
Yeah.
mean, like, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
That's so interesting. I've never actually heard anyone who themselves is not a tall woman specify that issue. I'm not very short, but I'm also not I would say Northern European wise, perfectly average sized. But I have a lot of really
how tall
tall
are you,
friends.
Max?
I'm uh 170 centimeters, so 170 centimeters, which is like 5'7".
5'7". Okay.
Yeah.
That's
But I
yeah. That
have
I'd say that. Yeah, that's about average.
yeah, that's average, but I have taller friends and they always go like, but then I have to just kind of lead into the oversized look because that's the only way I'm going to get something that
Mm.
doesn't look cropped or too small. So that's very interesting, Kai, to hear you. I was very unprepared for that and I'm very
Yeah.
excited about it.
Check it out. It's worth it. Yeah, and I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah,
like it's especially in the north or in Holland, there are
Yeah.
people that are born females
taller.
that
Yeah.
run in with 190, no problem. And then they have exactly your problem, if it should be long enough, it's way too wide, right?
Yep.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
yeah.
I, but I think the issue with clothing that probably a lot of people, that aren't in this industry don't appreciate is just the sheer cost of things to produce. To make good quality items, it isn't cheap, and then to stock good quality items is expensive because you have to, if you go to a festival, you have to have the whole range of sizes and a good amount of all ranges of sizes, which then becomes really expensive to do. And you guarantee the one person that comes up to buy it at that moment is, do you have the double XL? And that's the one that you've sold out of, and you're just like, it's the curse of clothing, but it is such an expensive thing to do, and I think it's underappreciated. People, like the amount of capital you have to put in, especially hoodies and jumpers. The others kind of like those thicker items. It's really difficult to do and to get right, especially on that higher end.
Mm. Yeah, and at the same time, the challenge is also to leave the footprint like as small as possible, because there is no point in, like, making like a million hoodies, then the hoodie has a design that doesn't sell as good like the other design, right? And then
Mm-hmm.
you end up with the total overproduction of something. Also the
Exactly.
sizes, you always like end up with having some sizes that just stay, right? And that is also
It's
why
always different to it's always different to the last one as well. Like
exactly.
that's the other thing. You do the first run of the same design and you will be left with smalls, and then so you print it again, you're like, I'm gonna get more smalls this time. So you do you do that again and you'll get more smalls. And then it's like, oh, well, okay, now nobody's buying the smalls, but everybody's buying the mediums. And it just, there is no consistency of just, this is what we
Exactly.
need to get. It is a headache.
Exactly. Yeah, it's difficult for sure, but that is also why we in Old Norse we work very very often with batches, that we make like 100 pieces, and
Mhm.
when they're gone, they're gone.
Yeah, I
So
love that.
sometimes we do reprints, but when you see stuff out there in the internet or in the physical store, and you like it, you fit it, I totally suggest buy it, because the moment that you come across it again is, or like the possibility that you come across it again is relatively small, because
Mm.
usually when it's gone. Like sometimes there's like hyper successful pieces where we then decide to reprint it, but or like re-embroider it, redo it. But more often than not, then when it's done, it's done. When it's sold
Mm.
out, it's sold out. And that's also the nature of the thing. I mean, like, I used to be a tattoo artist for more than 20 years, so I'm trained right from the beginning to deliver every day a fresh piece that people
Oh yeah.
invest a lot of money for, like, to get it done as a tattoo. And the moment I stopped tattooing in 2022, there was that part in me that was just spitting out all these Nordic and Celtic patterns, and like I didn't know how to help myself, because that is what I was doing for 20 years, and I couldn't stop it, right? And then
Mhm.
when I had my partners approaching me and saying, "Hey, let's do clothing," I was so happy, I was so happy
Yeah.
to like go back to a point, because, like, of course, clothing designing or designs for clothing is not exactly the same thing like designing a tattoo, but it still has similarities. It has to fit the body, it has to fit
Mhm.
somehow the piece, right? And it would be very sad for me if my partners would tell me, "Hey, Kai, we don't need any more any new designs anymore, right? We run with what we have." I would be, no, that was not the deal.
Yeah.
And I
I think,
want to
but
deliver.
I do. I think that stands out because I don't know how much you used to have. How much say you have in like the overall complete finished item, but with Old Norse clothing, I think that there is that kind of flow to it that you get from a tattoo artist, where the designs and the printing and the embroidery is in maybe a different place to what you typically just an easy kind of just like a print and go brand that's like, well, we're just going to do a design, stick it on the chest or the front of the t-shirt, that's it, let's go, hopefully people buy it. It doesn't have that feel. It kind of flows, and whether it's aimed at females or aimed at males, and it has that that it's gone into it, the thought has gone into it, is how the shape of the body is, and I think that stands out true.
That comes also with my work as a tattoo artist. Like when I was working as a tattoo artist, we had always, or I had two main teachers in tattooing, and both of them had like this hyper focus on anatomy, because you also have that in tattooing that people don't think. They just put something on. They don't design according to
Mm.
anatomy, right? And like how much saying I have in the actual designing, it is actually quite a lot. Of course, I don't. That is also generally not me, that I decide things and then I push them through, right? But creative designer also means that when it comes to a new collection, the designing is left to me. So I have all this like mock-ups of different hoodies and shirts, and I can color them in different ways. And I also, like, sometimes the guys, they give me new cuts, and then I do in the drawing program, I do something that looks like the original, with different prints, with different colors, different options, and then that goes out to my partners, and they look at it, and then they decide, okay, we take this one, right?
Mm-hmm.
But that also means the final collection people see in the internet or see on the physical shops, that is only a quarter out of what I have been drawing and designing before, right? So there's
Yeah.
there's a big dark part that people out there never see, right? But it's
Mm-hmm.
fun.
Of
I
course.
love doing it, and also that was also hits my old tattoo artist soul. This, like, coming from the drawing board, going to the customer and say, okay, what do you want? I
Mm-hmm.
made these two pieces, and I still have like like piles of folders in my home with designs that were never picked, and now I can like reshape them, reuse them, feed them into Old Norse and back and forward and everything. It's very beautiful. For me it's
Yeah.
like more about working with the pattern, with the knotwork, with the key pattern, with the runes, with the dragons, like spending that time on the drawing board, or nowadays I draw digital. That is a big part of my meditation. That is a big part of my relaxation. That is a big part of me anyway. I can be this like quiet guy for hours and just draw and be happy.
Mm-hmm. I imagine that had to go quite well with the traveling time in Highland, where you have this time where you're going in between cities on on the coaches, so you can get an iPad and an iPad, an iPencil. Are they called iPencils? I guess so.
The
And
iPen,
you
yeah.
know, yeah, the iPen, and do
Apple
some
Pen.
some
Yeah.
designs. Yeah, that has to work well together. You just get that, and you can just kind of lock in and play.
Yeah, it's amazing. I mean, like traveling with the coaches, there's too much vibration usually. It's very difficult to draw in the tour bus. But in the planes, when we take these like super long flights, the moment the plane is stable in the air, that is me drawing, right? And yeah, it's
Yeah.
it was a blessing also to change to digital drawings because before I was always traveling with this big like case of pencils in like different strengths and sizes and colors and everything, and the sketchbook, was also quite extensive, and I was always like carrying that shit around with me, like the rubbers
Mm.
and so on and so forth. And nowadays it's just like no product placement, but like the iPad is like it's a blessing. It shrinks the luggage and it gives you so much more possibilities.
But
Yeah.
it is
Yeah.
though, but because I use that, like I switched from I draw a lot for my PhD project, and I recently, like in May, switched, or not in May even, in like June, switched to an iPad from like a Surface Windows laptop, and it has revolutionized my work process. The iPad is so
Mm.
much easier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's one of those things. I'm not a huge fan of Apple as a company, but when I had an iPad and the iPen, and it was Luciano, who's been on your bunch, who taught me how to use it and like trace the old designs and historical artifacts, and it is a fantastic tool for
Yeah,
Yep.
it is.
anything like that. It is unbelievable because obviously you can change the brightness and the contrast, and manipulate pieces to find details that you wouldn't usually have. It is an incredible bit of kit, so it doesn't surprise me that you use it.
Yeah, of course. It became one of my main tools. Like really.
Yeah, for sure. Is there any plans to go back to tattooing in the hibernation period? Because I think I just missed out when we first started talking. I missed the gap of when you stopped tattooing by a little bit. So on a on a very selfish level, is there any plans?
I mean, you should never say never, right? But I do not believe that I'm going back to tattooing anytime soon, honestly. Because like all the other projects, like
Hmm.
although Heilung is asleep, they keep me busy, and also like it feels kind of done, like
Okay.
it
Yeah.
was one of my deeply spiritual journeys to Peru made me coming back with the information that it is time for me after more than 20 years to stop tattooing, right? And in the beginning, I thought, okay, like this is not going to happen anyway. I'm not going to stop. And it took me 2 years from there until I finally stopped. And the moment I stopped, it felt so right, and it felt
Hmm.
so relieving. And at the same time, there's a lot of like amazing fresh aspiring artists that I absolutely admire as well, that come out there with beautiful designs. And like when I started to do the traditional Nordic stuff, there was literally two studios in the world that offered handmade Nordic tattoos, right?
Hmm.
And it was very, very difficult to get in contact with these guys, to get a tattoo from these guys, super long waiting lists and everything. Nowadays there's so many people out there like that
Yeah.
do tattoos on Viking markets, like when I started tattooing in the beginning of the 2000s, I was traveling the Viking markets up and down all the way from Germany all the way to Tromsø, Norway, and I was the only one, and
Hmm.
sometimes there was the guys from Aarhus that was there. But nowadays you have a tattoo artist on every Viking market, so like whatever happened there, I don't want to claim to be a pioneer, because like people that did traditional Nordic tattooing even 15 years before I picked it up. You know, they're the true pioneers. They're some of them are retired already, but one of my good friends, Colin, for example, Colin, thank you
I was
for
about
all
to
the
say,
ink. Thank you for all the
yeah,
ink you gave me during the years, man. I appreciate that so much. You know, like
I
Colin
was about to
Dale,
say Colin must have been there.
he's the man. Like he
Mm,
honestly is the man. And if you get the chance to get a tattoo by Colin, then grab it, you know, grab it. I mean, like he also has a waiting list, but he also goes to different conventions all over the world, you know,
mhm.
and he goes to the Viking markets and also other period markets like Iron Age markets
Mhm.
and so on
Yeah.
and so forth. And that guy is just, you know, like I mean, like I admired him already as a young tattoo artist when I was still working in Germany, and I could have never dreamt in my life that I could go, I would go to Scandinavia, move to Scandinavia, work in Scandinavia. You know, like I looked at his work, you know, back in the days on fucking paper magazines, you know, and I was reading what he was in the interviews, what he was saying about all the traditional designs and everything, and I was eating it. You know, I was like, that was like my soul food. You know, whenever I found
Mhm.
an article about him and the studio where he was working at that time, Kunst und Pakroben. And then, like when it actually happened, and my teacher for tattooing, Astrid Köpfler, I can't greet her anymore in this world. She's dead by now. When she linked me up with these guys, and like I had a guest spot in that studio, I was like, I couldn't believe it, right? I could
Mm.
not believe it that I would work together with Colin Dale, you know, that I would work together with Eddie Greimer. I was like, wow, this is fucking not happening, you know. And when these guys invited me to work there permanently, it was the same feeling again. I couldn't believe it, you know. That was as if you're some guitar player from a small place in the middle of nowhere, and Slayer invites you to play with them, you know, that feeling, you know, like this is
Yeah,
like
yeah,
fucking,
yeah.
oh my God, you know. And then,
What is life?
yeah,
Yeah.
just, yeah, yeah,
I
absolutely
mean,
amazing, right?
Kai, we'll wrap up the main show here because I do want to let people ask you some questions if they have them. But what a life you've had so far. You know
Thank
you've
you.
had this fantastic journey as a tattooist, which you know you even just hearing you speak about it, then you there is that love for it, even though you know don't do it now. You can see you come alive when you talk about the journey of like that excitement when you're younger and getting into it and being that, and now you've taken a completely different direction and become a you know at this point a world known musician, even if it's only with the mask on. you but it's what a life to have
Thank you.
had. And there's so much more to come. And I can't wait to see it and be there and hopefully come and see it live and hang out. And yeah, it's a pleasure to kind of sit here and chat and see that the kind of happiness and that love for what you do, because so many of us, so many people don't get that. They kind of get stuck in these roles and they don't get to have that love and excitement to go to work and do what they love. And it's infectious to see, and hopefully that inspires people to maybe just go and chase something that they really are passionate about. Because yeah, you're a fascinating man, Kai.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
um, Mags, you got anything to add before we wrap up the main show?
Uh, just that it was so nice to virtually meet you, Kai. And sorry for being a bit reserved, but it was such a nice conversation, and you're such a sweetheart. It was. I'm really excited to see what stuff is going to come out in the
Thank you,
future,
Max.
and hopefully experience it myself.
Yeah. All right, Kai, where can people find you, find what you do, find the amazing clothing?
Well, the easiest is of course when you go to like Instagram, Old Norse Official. That is where most of the people hang out these days. You can also find it on Facebook, and it's also old-norse.com, where you're straight at the web shop or at the web shops. We have one European and one American web shop.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, I'm still carrying my old tattoo name on my personal Instagram is at Nordic Tattoo as one word. You're welcome. I mean, like, don't expect me to answer any of the DMs there because it's way too much. I
Oh,
answer to
that.
Daniel because I know him and I love him, but all the requests, like, I'm sorry, guys, like, it's just too much. But
Yeah, yeah.
welcome to follow, and in there is also links to Old Norse, links to Old Heilung, links to Kriigerkvlt, and everything
Hmm.
that I'm working with.
Yeah, wonderful. Mags, where can people find you?
You can find me on Instagram at archeomags, archeo with a K.
There we go. And then for me, Daniel _ Farrand 1, Horns of Only for the business, and then just Nordic Mythology podcast across the board, YouTube, Patreon. Like I say, if you can support us on there, please do. It does help us keep going. And yeah, with that, what a wonderful episode. Thank you, Kai.